welcome to another episode with the Struggling Hunters. You have Eric over here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And then on this side you have me, Joe. And together we're the Struggling Hunters, and we'd like to thank you for tuning in to episode 122. And thanks for spending some time with us in the hunting shack tonight. Before we get started, I just wanted to ask Eric, which bear is the most condescending?
I don't know.
A panda. I just was starting with a little tribute to our shorts.
Yeah. Our dad jokes.
Our dad jokes, yeah.
That's a good idea. We should maybe do that on a few of these podcasts. Just have a few dad jokes on hand to open
tell.
it up with.
Yeah. So for those of you that maybe just tuned into us or found us through podcasts or whatnot, and the Struggling Hunters have started doing little shorts with dad jokes over on the YouTube and I guess more of the social media side of things.
Yep.
And that's been kind of fun. We've been seeing some growth from that, and that's been a little different, like kind of refreshing in a way to step back and change up from doing podcasts every week to stepping out and a little more practice at filming us, I guess.
Yeah, kind of doing something just outside. I mean, kind of exactly what you said, but doing something outside of the podcast and having fun. That's the biggest thing, I think, is just we've been having fun with it, just kind of, for me, it's just one of those mindsets where I'm like, I don't care. I'm just doing it and having fun and
Right, actually, like, kind of, what's that?
Because I just want to have fun.
You just want to have fun, Eric?
I just want to have fun.
Okay, guys, if you haven't picked up on that, Eric just wants to have fun. So, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's on a small little portion of our vlog video that we did a few weeks ago, and also I made a short out of it. So, guess that joke kind of came back around a little bit.
It did a little bit.
Yeah.
But, so those shorts have been kind of fun, too, because I feel like it's another way for people to get to see who we are, even though they're kind of, set a little serious. But that's a little bit kind of insight into who the Struggling Hunters are, too. We'll poke fun at each other when we can. We even do it during the podcast. But
oh, yeah.
We like to tell jokes or whatnot, too. So
yeah. Well, and I mean, that's what it's about, is just having fun. And whenever we go out hunting and stuff, I mean, how often do we get those jokes in or whatever,
right.
laughs, and
we don't film it, yeah,
and we don't get it filmed, and so I don't know. It's kind of nice, just kind of showing who we really are as
right,
as hunters,
I mean, yeah, when we go out hunting, we take ourselves as if we're like the most serious hunters that there is out there, and we don't really. I mean, we do, but with cameras never really on when we truly are who we are.
Yeah. Well, that while it was actually last year, I think we were sitting there laughing, and I mean, I don't even know what we were talking about, but then the moo cows came up out of the field over in Utah. Remember that? Yeah. And then that made us crack up even more, because I thought it was, well, I think we were just talking or something, but the moo cows came up, and I'm like, oh. Grabbed Joe, and then it was just moo cows, and then we just started laughing about it, and I don't know, just kind of what we do, I guess, whenever it's downtime. But we try to catch more of those moments this year whenever we're hunting, catch more of those fun moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, I guess it gets serious. Like, I think your first couple days every year, for me at least, like my first couple days, it gets fun, but then eventually it gets more serious because we're not seeing the elk or something, and then we're a little more serious and dialed in. But anyway, yeah, it's not to go too far off into how much fun we have, but
Eric just wants to have fun.
Just want to have fun, man.
But no, I was trying to think, trying to get back on topic of the podcast, and that kind of, we talked a little bit about it last week, but that is something you guys will be able to see a little bit more going down the road, is us maybe getting some more videos in and showing who we are. So look forward to some of those. I know we've kind of been trying to mention that over the years, and we seem to always drop it, or not drop it, but we'd never come back to it. But now we're finally in a spot to where we can actually do something about it.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited about some of these things that we got planned ahead of us. I really think they'll come. They'll be good. They'll be really good. I'm trying not to give away too much,
right.
They're gonna be pretty good little videos, and we'll just kind of leave it at that, I guess.
And kind of leaving it at that, and then changing topics. We kind of talked about something last time. I think it was last time we were out shooting the bows and whatnot. A couple things happened that I thought maybe we can discuss, or some ideas that we can maybe go rabbit holes to go down. Because I know we're not well versed in everything, but we have enough information tucked away in our heads to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So we were talking about bow draw weights, and you asked. I think we've probably talked about it in some of our podcasts, but what do you shoot your bow at?
65.
And I think I'm at like 56. Which,
okay.
Is kind of where it fell. It's not like I wanted to dial into 56, but...
Well, mine, I mean, if we're going to be that nitpicky about where it's at, it could be a little above or a little below.
Well, I'm
65.
sure it is. Like, I don't know. That's the last time I tested mine. That's where I was at. But it wasn't like I was trying to hit 56 or 55. It's just where after I put new cams and new modulars for the drawstring length and everything, that's where it came to, was 56. So like I said, I wasn't trying to hit it. And then you're like, well, why are you shooting 55? I know you can handle more than that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, whenever you pull back that 55, it looks like it looks pretty easy on you.
Well, yeah. I'm really trying hard though.
Yeah. Really pushing for it.
Yeah. And so there's that I was going to kind of go down. And then one of the things that, that we ended on with on the last shot of my arrows was that one arrow that we kind of watched and did like a what would you call it? A curveball. Like it just did a definite drop. And we walked up and noticed that the fletching on that one was tore.
Little tore, yeah.
And I wish kind of thinking about it, I wish we would have went back and shot it one more time just to kind of as like a scientific thing to do and
try to confirm
and just learn from it.
Right.
Like how much deflect of a torn fletching really. I mean, I still have the arrow, so we can still shoot it. But like during this conversation, all we know is that for sure that one fire, like it was bad, and it probably was bad the whole time, and we were just caught up shooting that we didn't notice it. Because I think I was shooting that whole the set that we were shooting, that fletching was tore. So the whole time.
And then every time you brought it up that I need to paper tune this, that was probably the one that you were shooting every time.
Really noticed it the worst. Yeah. Right. But anyway, so I thought maybe and then of course we if we have time, we can maybe go down the rabbit hole of arrowhead weight.
Oh yeah.
Because so like with that being said, is there one of the two? I mean, I guess we kind of already talked about the fletching one, but do you want to go down draw weight a little bit more in particulars as to the if, ands, and buts, and the why is and the whatnots?
Yeah, we could do a little bit of draw weight. I mean, you're really testing my knowledge, but
my thought was I'd kind of explain, why I'm kind of at that draw weight of mine right now. It is a newer bow to me, and I've only had it since I think sometime last year in 2021, and I had to buy new roller. God, what do you call them? The new wheels and stuff for it. They were bent and
the cams.
The cams, yeah, that's what it is. And but anyway, so finally shooting it, and I only put it at 55 for two reasons. Is one, I'm just getting used to the bow. Two, I haven't played with any more draw weight, and there's kind of a couple ideas or thoughts behind that. And one of them is the fact that and when I have an elk coming in, I don't have to make any big movements to pull my bow back. Like I know I can draw back 55 pounds.
Right.
And I know I can probably draw back more, but trying to conceal myself and getting used to the bow, I just figured this year I'll stay at like the easy draw weight.
Right. So last year, whenever I got my entry bow, and I was shooting it, I set mine up for 55 also for the first little while. And I went and did a 3D target, and I was pretty comfortable at 55, and I was kind of doing the same thing, just wanting to get used to my bow and turn it up a little bit at a time. And the one thing that irritated me was when I started getting longer distance. I noticed the guys that I was shooting with were all 65, 70-pound bows.
Okay.
Were shooting that. And when I'd shoot mine, or when they'd shoot theirs would go like to the target if it was a 60-yarder, let's say.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple things that I might have been doing wrong. I might have been judging that it was 40 yards away whenever it was really like a 50 yards away or 60 yards away. I could have been doing that because we didn't have rangefinders with us.
Gotcha.
That was kind of the course rules is learning, trying to learn your distance.
Distance, yeah.
It was actually I was glad because I didn't have a rangefinder anyway, but it was kind of nice to try to test that knowledge anyway.
And see where you'd hit.
Exactly. Yeah. So there is a caveat there where I might have been just on the wrong pen, but on a few of those shots, mine would always like fall short. And so I was blaming it on the fact that my draw weight was a little light.
Gotcha.
And it just wasn't giving it that extra little oomph to get there. So I got home and on that bow, I turned it up like 68 pounds or whatever. Pretty much maxed it out, and started shooting from there. And then on that bow, I tested it out at 60 yards. I think was my furthest pin. Yeah, I think it was 60. So I was testing it out at 60, and I was hitting target, and I was pretty happy with it,
Right.
And so whenever I got this bow, the guy that I bought it from, I just had him set it up right away at 65, just because I felt confident that I would get good with it, and get it dialed in for me. So that's kind of my theory behind why I like to turn it up, is because I think it does kind of help promote the arrow to get out there.
Right.
Somebody out there could totally tell me how wrong I am, but that's just what it felt like to me.
Yeah. Well, the velocity and all that, that you got a faster arrow going down range, and depending on your bullet weight and stuff too, you got more foot pounds or kinetic energy and stuff that's hitting the elk, and that all makes sense, and I guess, and I kind of, it's crazy how what you can actually study this stuff and go down some rabbit holes and get lost. And I think that's the other thing that I'm trying not to do is get lost and keeping it simple.
Simple stupid is kind of the best sometimes.
You just want to kiss it, just keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep.
So that's, you get going bullet weights, and God, you lose your speed a little bit, but then you're carrying, the heavier bullet weight, but then you're carrying more foot kinetic energy. It hits harder, but then there's a certain point where that kind of goes away, and man, you really.
Oh yeah, and then your arrows and the
FOC.
The FOC, the
front and center.
The what's the other one? The spline.
Oh spline strength.
Yep, and I mean it gets kind of outrageous sometimes. Whenever you just, I know there's some people that love going down those rabbit holes, but for me, it's like, can I just shoot my arrow and make it go where it goes? But I say that, but I like to go down those rabbit holes a little bit and try to learn as much as I can. Hopefully in the next few years, keep going down those rabbit holes, and then I'll get good enough to be able to start teaching or preaching about it.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things too, is like, like anything in life, you want to be better at something, and you want to be better at it now, right? Like
100%.
Like, the whole like thing with struggling hunters is, like that's, yeah, we want to be better at it now, but the truth behind it is that you got to struggle kind of in life, no matter what you do, till you get better at it. And man, like I know we've kind of said it over the last couple podcasts too, beating a dead horse, but we've improved so much as far as like bow knowledge, elk knowledge, or deer knowledge over the last 2 years as we've been focusing on trying to become better hunters. And anyways, and there's still a long ways to go and a lot to learn.
Yeah, well, something that I'd like to build off of that is I think we kind of have to give ourselves a little bit of credit, because you know how many people out there that, you said it yourself, like trying to get good and stuff, and we put ourselves out there and was like, yeah, we're not really good at some of this stuff or whatever, and just putting ourselves out there in the first place, because that's the hardest thing to do. Is I know people that didn't ever want to do anything, like go to an archery shoot or something, because they were like, well, I don't know if I'm good enough. And it's like, a lot of the other people out there probably ain't good enough either, but they're just going out there because it's about the community and having fun. And you just got to put yourself out there sometimes, or you'll never get going. Same thing with us doing the YouTube stuff. I mean, we weren't professional YouTubers. We barely even knew how to turn on a camera, it feels like. And we've been learning as we go, and we're just putting ourselves out there, and it's, it's humbling to a point, and it's not always fun putting yourself out there, because you'll get a little critique, but yeah, I mean, if you don't, then you'll never start. So, my advice is always put yourself out there. always just go for it, because it's your life. It's one life, so might as well make the most of it while it's here. Right.
Yeah, true.
I'd rather try and fail than regret that I never tried. And I think about that quote quite often.
Do you?
Yeah, I do, actually.
All right. How do you want me to take it from there?
I don't know.
You want me just to backtrack and circle back around?
Well, do you want to go on to the tip weights?
Oh,
or, do you want to talk about that, or?
I guess we can. I mean, not that I don't really have anything too deep to go down, other than the fact of, like it affects everything.
Well, I was thinking, because we run different tip weights, and I was thinking that might play a difference in like my experience at 55 pounds and your experience, because a lot of it was because I can't remember what YouTube channel I seen it on, but I was watching a YouTube channel, and they're like, with elk, you want to run a 125 grain because it has that extra kinetic energy, that extra oomph that help it go through the animal. So I bought in on that, and I just went with it, and so I started out with 125, and I've just pretty much just stayed with it.
Yeah, that makes a lot. I mean, that makes sense. And, talking about choices and how that affects you. And as I've been thinking about it, I'm at 100, and at 100, what is it? Grains. And I've stuck at that because I am shooting, at a lighter weight. And I'm trying to give my bow kind of as much chance as it can get. And I figure, the lighter, and I know it's lighter. I'm losing some kinetic energy, or what, like whatever the scientific words are in there, but I feel like my arrow is going to fling faster and go just a little bit further, being that I'm shooting a lighter weight.
And I think that might have some truth behind it whenever it comes to trying to get out there to the 60 and 70 yards.
Right.
So,
well, and that was the other interesting thing, is we're shooting, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we're shooting the same target. And now granted, so there's two things. Eric's bow draw weight's heavier, and he's shooting heavier arrows, but his arrows were penetrating further through the target than mine was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's what it is. Just heavier draw weight and the heavier field tip.
Right. And like then, man, you're trying to find that balance, and I guess that's where it's kind of fun in a way, is you find what works for you and then you just stick to it, and that's all that matters. Like, yeah, Eric can give me crap by shooting lighter things, but I can give him crap for shooting heavier or whatever, but it goes both ways. But that's where we're at, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to really give you too much crap about it, but I just could tell, like, cause Joe's, I mean, I'm not trying. I don't want to give you too much of a big head or anything, but he's a pretty strong guy. And whenever he was pulling that 55 back, I'm like, man, it looks kind of easy for him. So, I just kind of brought it up. But
so I want to say too, I think I mentioned it to you. Like when I was looking at bows and going to the stores and trying them out, and a couple of the shop hands, if you will, they would be like, that bow's set at like 65 or 55. You sure you can handle that? I'd be like, all right, little man. What do I look like here? I'm bigger than you are.
That's a tough one. Well, I mean, not for you, but I'm just saying. Especially whenever they're tinier than you, they're like, "Can you handle that?" I'm sure I'll be all right.
Yeah, they're like, "You want to make sure that if you can pull that 55-pound bow back and you'll be able to hunt with it." Got it, dude.
But I will say though, there is probably a lot of people that, guys. I mean, we're the worst on it. Is
true.
Always want 70 pounds. I'll try to make it go 75 or
right.
125.
If a little bit's good, a lot's better.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I have a little bit of it, but I try not to. But I definitely.
But that's like, I guess that's kind of going back to my comment that I was making earlier, is that you find what works for you, and then you just you make that work. Like, people shooting recurve bows that have a 45 or 50-pound draw length, and they don't have the let off or nothing on it, but yet they're still getting clean pass throughs. I don't know exactly what their tip weight is, but they're getting clean pass throughs there through the elk. So it's not like you need the ultimate 150-pound bow to kill an elk, because what I'm getting at here too is if you're shooting 45, 50 pounds, like, that's sufficient.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, Ted Nugent, I think he was on Meat Eater. I can't remember if he was on Meat Eater or Joe Rogan, but I remember listening to one of his podcasts, and he was talking about I think it was Meat Eater, but he was talking about his wife killing plenty of deer at 35 pounds. So
yeah,
because what he was ragging on, and it might have even been lower. It might have been 30 pounds or 20. Anyway, I want to say not all states, but there's some states that have a minimum draw weight.
Correct.
For their state.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, it's ridiculous because he's seen it with his own eyes that, whatever it was, 30-pound draw weight was killing deer.
Yeah,
his wife was killed many deer at whatever she pulls it back at. So, he was kind of a proponent of, with him getting older and stuff too. He was kind of promoting the idea that you don't need all that.
Right.
Let off or all that
weight behind the arrow.
Yeah.
Throwing it down range.
And I think he has a point too. Like, I'm not arguing him. I think he has a point.
Right. And the other thing too to think about is, like, we kind of brought up the let off, and then as your draw weight goes up, your let off goes up too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you draw weight goes up, you're still got a let off, but you're holding more than you were at the lighter weight. That's one of the things that, as I was sitting there thinking about, it'd be interesting to do. Man, it's kind of a lot of work, but maybe we can do it between the two bows. See how long you can hold back the 55-pound draw let off, or I can't remember what the let off is, but the 55-pound draw, and then the 65. That's just the other thing too. Like, so the heavier the bow, the shorter amount of time you're going to be able to hold it there. until you let the arrow go down the lighter. So, that's another thought too behind all that is, you how long can you hold it or pull it back and hold it there till you have to let it go? Because not that I've had too many opportunities, I'm wanting more opportunities, but getting those situations to where you pull your bow back and whatever you're hunting steps behind a tree, log, bush, and then you don't have a shot. And then you're stuck in the position of holding your bow back until you get a shot, or you just, you have an opportunity and you don't anymore and you acknowledge that. And then so I guess what I'm getting at too is if you're in a situation to where you pull the bow back, that elk's close enough to notice you.
Yeah.
And so if you have to let it go to not release the arrow, but to let off and reposition because of a bad shot, more than likely you're going to scare the elk because he's going to be close enough to see that movement.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if I have much more to add to that really because,
But it's just like I just getting back kind of in the logic of why my bow's set up to additional to where it's setting at right now.
Right. Well, and it's working for you right now. You're hitting pretty good groups and everything's working. So why change it up right now? And we're way too close to change it up even right now anyway.
True.
But maybe after this hunt season we can
dial it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it does benefit. It would be nice to have a little bit more power behind throwing the arrow downrange.
Right. Well, and which we got to do this next week or something is maybe try to fling a little bit further.
Yeah.
And test that out and see how they're hitting. We did a while back, or I guess I think it's been a while, but
a month or two, yeah.
But you were hitting pretty good at. I can't remember.
We were at 45 or 50, I think 40, maybe 40.
But you were hitting pretty good at 40.
Yeah, I want to get the you out there too. Now that we have your bow kind of setting
dialed in a little bit better. Yeah, definitely. I know that bow shoots good. Well, it's shooting a lot better now. But I know, when we did that at the 40, I was off that day, and we talked about it last podcast. But I've fixed a couple things and think we got it figured out. So I'm pretty confident that it'll hit that again. Because when the guy that owned it before I owned it, I shot it, and it was a great bow,
Right.
So, anyways, yeah, I'll be excited to see what I can do at 40 and 50.
Yeah, me too.
And maybe 60.
Yeah.
So, well, with that said, Joe, are you excited to get out your spotting scope?
Yes, I am. I want to go look for some deer. I can't wait to spend some time looking for deer.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably use it during elk hunting too, I'm sure. So where we're going, I know it's pretty brushy or pretty thick, but we could always go out there to the other area where we hunted a few years ago where the salt.
Yeah.
We go out there and see what we can.
It'd be interesting to go back over during the archery season and not rifle.
I think we should. But with that said, do you got any last thoughts?
Nope.
Perfect. Well, guys, hey, thanks for another episode, 122. Thanks for all the support that you guys have been giving us. If you're a new listener, thank you for checking us out. We really appreciate everything that you guys have been doing for us. Remember to give us a like, a subscribe. Go over to the podcast portion if you travel for work or whatnot. It'd be a great listen for a little while on your travel to work. Thank you guys for supporting us. We are the Struggling Hunters, and we are out of here.
See ya.